This is Dan Coonan. I'm a commissioner of the ECAC, and that includes ECAC Esports. And we're fortunate today to have with us Scott Hushaw, senior from Syracuse, which just won our Rocket League National Championship at HV GamerCon. Thanks for being with us, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
This is our first edition of ECAC Esports Unveiled, and they are conversations about anything and everything ECAC Esports. So we're thrilled to have you with us for this first one. Congratulations on the win. But what does it mean to you guys?
Thank you so much. We love being able to participate in events like this, and of course, winning feels really good, and just really like having the support to have a company willing to put on these events and allowing us to compete.
Mm-hmm. Well, was it close? I know. I think it was a fairly dominant win. Was it not?
Yeah, it was. But there's some good players on all those teams. We had a good day.
Awesome. Now you guys have a young team. Is that right?
Yeah, we have 2 new freshmen this year who are both really talented. I recently stepped off the starting roster, so I'm not playing right now. And we have a junior as well, so we're hoping to be pretty good for the years to come as well.
You are you're the captain of the team, is that right?
I was the captain of the team. Originally, I started it my sophomore year, but right now I've allowed the junior to become captain. This is the first semester he's being the captain, and I've stepped back into more of a manager/coaching role for the team.
Great. So what does that win mean for your program?
We just really love getting notable wins like this, especially backed by a good organization like the ECAC. Just having it get out there. Having people see what we're doing, and that we are being successful, and hoping to get as much support as we can from the student body and the school in general.
And how is that going? Are you getting that support? Does it mean? Do you think it's on the radar of people at Syracuse generally?
I hope so. We've been continually getting more support. When I started this, it was just a group of 3 guys, Rocket League. We've transitioned at this point to a club sport. And we just keep on growing. The school put in this esports room that I'm at right now for all students that we are able to use, which we love to use, and it gives a great space for students. And seeing stuff like this and seeing the school invest within esports, it's just a great sign for us to continue growing.
So talk about that for a second. So when you got your senior, when you got there as a freshman, what was the state of esports there? And talk a little bit about the growth between then and now, and where you have a facility now and you have several teams.
The only esports related things that I remember seeing freshman years, I remember seeing one League of Legends poster for people looking to try and start a League of Legends team. But my sophomore year, a group of people who were freshmen at the time, started this club, and this club, which started on a Discord server, has really allowed for people who play games all over Syracuse to just find each other, allows people like me to start teams and really just start building it from the ground up.
So how many teams do you have now?
We have a lot of teams. If you include like B teams and whatnot, we probably have somewhere around 8 or 9 teams.
And how many games?
I'd estimate around 6 or 7.
6 or 7. So how many total competitors do you have going there?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would estimate it's probably around 50 or 60.
50 or 60. And you're now an official club at Syracuse?
Yeah, we're official club sport.
And you're on your way, hoping to make a transition to being a varsity sport? That's
my goal. I'd love to see it before I graduate. That's my goal.
And is that realistic? Is there any movement on that right now?
I'm not really too into a lot of the administration stuff, so I don't really know what's going on with that to a great extent. But I'm hoping wins like the HV GamerCon and really putting us on the radar for Syracuse helps them see us as a worthwhile investment to help us transition to that.
I want to just talk a little bit about you personally, because you're quite an interesting story. Coming from the San Joaquin Valley in California, is that right?
Yep, I'm from a small town, Linden, California, in the San Joaquin Valley of California.
And so why Syracuse? What prompted you to make that? It's not exactly down the block.
So coming from a small town, a lot of people, stay there and live there their whole lives. And, I really wanted to get out and, expand my worldview and experience the world. Not just constantly being in my little small town. So, while Syracuse was pretty far, and it definitely got me pretty far away from home, which is what I wanted. But yeah, it was definitely a big transition, and it was just to be able to see things from a different perspective. Experience the world more.
And when you came to Syracuse, did you think that playing esports games would be an option?
No, not at all. I didn't bring my desktop computer. I didn't bring my PlayStation at the time. I thought I was completely done when I came to Syracuse.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it came back. I couldn't help myself.
Right, right. So, but when did you start playing back in California? How old were you?
Video games or Rocket League
Yeah,
specifically?
video games.
Um, I would say 3 or 4 years old. I remember playing Mario Party 2 on my sister's N64. It was the first video game I remember.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Awesome. And did you ever play competitively?
Not with
Like an organized competition like you're doing now?
nothing like this. The closest I ever came was running scrims and Call of Duty with some friends, which we took it pretty competitively, but nothing serious until I started this at Syracuse.
Uh-huh. Now, you might be unusual, perhaps, as an esports participant in that you were an accomplished athlete, a three-sport high school athlete. Talk about that. Were there many in your high school that were playing sports at the degree that you were that were also involved in esports games?
There was some because I definitely do think there's some overlap between athletics and esports, just in the competition aspect and people wanting to get better and wanting to do the best they can and compete. But I would definitely say I was in the minority within athletes at my high school with playing video games. There definitely was some other ones like those Call of Duty friends I talked about who we used to run scrims with, but it really, yeah, definitely was not in the majority with that. But there definitely is some. I think there's a lot of overlap, and I hope with the rise of esports within the mainstream media helps with that and allows people to explore it a little bit more.
Can you talk about the differences between being on a highly competitive traditional sport like basketball, football, or baseball? I think those were your three sports in high school, and being on a competitive Rocket League team at Syracuse.
There is a lot of overlap. There's expectations. You want to get better on your own time. You have relatively set practices or scrims where you're working with your team trying to get better, as well as set competition dates. The only main thing that is the one difference that I try personally to try to negate and make it as similar as possible is the in-person aspect. This isn't we don't have football practices where we're in person for 3 hours sweating and really having that bonding. Sitting on a screen can be difficult at times. So, especially without COVID, I really do try to do things outside of the game with my team to build that team chemistry and stuff and camaraderie that you see in traditional sports that isn't always there in esports.
Part of that might be a COVID thing, right? If
Yeah.
we weren't in a pandemic, you would be spending a great deal of time with your teammates. Is that right?
Definitely, but I think it still would be different just because you are able to, play from your own house and, play separately, whereas, traditional sports, you have to be in person with each other. So it would have been there, but to a different level.
Uh-huh. And of the esports participants at Syracuse, I think the stereotype of esports is kids in their basement who've never played sports like you, perhaps. And what have you found about that stereotype? Is that are there kids like you or not, or is that fair or not?
I don't know whether or not fair is the right word. There's definitely a mixture. I mean, there definitely is people who fit that stereotype. There definitely is people who have just played video games like for a lot of their lives and never participated in traditional sports. But there's people all over the place. There's people who played sports. There's people who have so many different passions and so many different interests outside of video games that I think Syracuse in general really is able to foster. There's so many different people, so many interests. Like no one, it's not just one set parameters of who you are, if whether or not you're a part of this.
When we started, so at the ECAC, we started esports really about 3.5, 4 years ago, and one of the reasons we wanted to, when we were talking to college presidents and administrators, they really felt that by bringing on esports, it would help their schools attract more smart kids, more STEM, science, technology, engineering, math kids, and that was the thought. Can you talk about that with respect to Syracuse and some of the other teams that you play? Do you see that type of kids, smart kids and STEM kids participating in esports?
Yeah, I would say that if you had to pick, one population of kids, STEM would probably be the highest. But like we really do have a diverse pool of kids within esports at Syracuse. But yeah, I think that video games just require a unique way of thinking and a unique way of looking at something that I think really does attract people who would be interested in STEM and like those unique ways of thinking and unique logic. So yeah, definitely. But we definitely do have a wide variety of kids with all
Uh-huh.
different interests.
And then it's I think it's notable you're remarkable in another sense that you are a pre-med major. What you are, what, biochem, is that your major?
Yeah, I'm a biochemistry major, and I'm in the process of applying to med school right
So
now.
a cake major like that. Tell me, how do you balance? Um, there must be incredible demands on your time to be biochem and pre-med and be a gamer and still try to have any kind of a social life. And tell me about how all that works, or does it work?
Yeah, it's a balance. I mean, you learn on sacrificing sleep, which was a lot of what I did in high school, or still do that now
Overrated, right?
sometimes. Yeah, overrated completely. But yeah, it's a balance. Being on the pre-med track, there's definitely a lot of demands, a lot of expectations for what you need to be involved in and stuff. So I tried to do my best to keep everything as balanced as possible. Is equally like taking. I was already planning before the freshman came, just take a step back this year,
Mhm.
to really focus on my medical path.
Right,
But yeah, it's a huge balance.
right. Are there a lot of pre-med kids doing esports?
You know what? I don't think I have talked to one, to be
Uh-huh.
honest.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of kids involved in esports, and I don't get to talk to everyone. Maybe that's my fault. I don't make as much of an effort, but I'm sure there is. But I personally haven't talked to any.
Right. What do you want to do? You obviously want to go to med school. What would you like to do? What kind of medicine do you want to practice, if you want to practice medicine, and whereabouts? And do you have plans?
Yeah, I don't really care where at. I'm really open to settling wherever eventually. But I really want to be just a general practitioner or a family doctor. Having that patient interaction, being able to talk to patients and build a bond with them, and be almost an extension of the family. Watching the kids grow up and stuff like that is something that I really like. Um, and just being that specialties scare me a little bit. Don't want to be too into one particular thing. Just want really general and broad knowledge to be able to help people.
Uh-huh. Well, my God, there's people that need help right now. So more power to you and that whole industry. My gosh, good for you. Good for you. And by the way, will gaming continue to be a part of your life, you think?
One thing I've been pretty good at is, being able to, set down the controller, set down the mouse and keyboard when I have to get serious and have to work on stuff. I remember like with exams and stuff, I won't touch it for, 5 or 6 days and then be able to jump right back into it. And that's one thing I think I am really good at is having that self-control and being able to not force it. So we'll see how much time I end up having spare once we get to that part.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Awesome, awesome. And then just, I guess, because this is our first ECAC episode here, tell me what being a part of the ECAC has meant to Syracuse.
No, it's great because the esports collegiate scene in general, the one thing it tends to lack a little bit is structure. And having a company like the ECAC or a league like the ECAC come in and provide a structured league that resembles traditional sports in a sense, is really great. And I think it really appeals to administrations and stuff who who can find it hard sometimes to see esports, as something that can be a set league and as something that can be something that they should support. Having that level of consistency and professionalism within esports, I feel like is huge for the growth of it, especially in the collegiate
Right.
scene.
And then the last question is just about, since you play Rocket League, or you guys won in Rocket League, I guess you won one game maybe against Stockton at the last minute with a flip reset. Is that correct?
Um, I honestly don't remember,
Okay.
but it sounds about right. That sounds about right. I would not be surprised.
All right. Well, and I think people tuning into this will be all different levels of knowledge about esports. And by the way, Rocket League maybe is one of the more um, uh, one that attracts people, that if you just sat down and watched it for the first time, you could understand it, where some of those games you couldn't, perhaps. But maybe describe what a flip reset is, if you don't mind.
So a flip reset. So in Rocket League, when all four of your wheels are landed, you can jump and have a flip. So a flip reset, if you have all four wheels land on the ball, the game treats it as if you land on the ground. So you get an extra flip that you normally wouldn't have. That allows you to put extra power on the ball, and it can be a little bit of a surprise to really catch your opponent off guard. It's a little tricky mechanic that's pretty difficult to pull off.
Can all of them execute it?
They all can, but it's definitely difficult. It's not 100% for sure.
Right. Well, being pre-med, I'm sure you've got other things you need to do. We really appreciate you being the first one of these. It means a lot to us. Congratulations on your win. And it's great to have Syracuse involved with us. It really is. But I wish you all the best in life. I wish I could buy stock in you right now, by the way. But congratulations. Thanks for spending time with us. And it's great to have you on the first episode of ECAC Esports Unveiled.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy I could be here and talk with you a little bit.
All right, Scott. All right, take care.
You too.